how to recognize a conflict of interest in crypto analysis.
All right, let's talk about the wild world of crypto. If you're in it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your feed is just this constant storm of predictions, warnings, and so-called can't-miss opportunities. It's totally overwhelming, and honestly, it can be pretty dangerous. So today, we are going to cut right through all that chaos. You know, 1 minute you're scrolling and you see this, a super bold, super bullish prediction from some expert. It gets you excited, right? It feels so certain and it makes you want to jump in and act fast. But then, literally the next scroll, you get hit with this, a massive takedown of a popular project, flat out calling it a scam. And that's terrifying. It feels urgent and it pushes you to act, but in the exact opposite direction.
So you're just left spinning, asking yourself this huge question. When there are millions, even billions of dollars on the line, based on a single tweet or article, how in the world do you tell what's real and what's just noise? Who's actually trying to help you, and who's just trying to play you?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle right now. Look, I'm not here to tell you what to think. Nope. Instead, we're going to build a simple but really powerful mental toolkit, all based on our source material, that's going to help you think for yourself.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to use what we'll call a 5-signal reality check. These are 5 simple questions you can ask about literally any piece of crypto content you find, and they'll help you see almost instantly if it's worth your time.
First up, and honestly, if you only remember one thing from all of this, make it this one. Is the author. Before you even read a single word of the analysis, you've got to ask, who is this person? Who's the one behind the curtain? What's their background? And maybe more importantly, what's their angle?
So let's put this into practice with a couple of real-world examples from our sources. You've got Martin Stránský, the CEO of Bit.plus. His super optimistic Bitcoin forecasts, well, they just so happen to drive business for his company. Then you have Zhou, CEO of the Bybit exchange. His takedown of a competitor, Pi Network, isn't exactly a mystery. And here is the key difference, the thing you have to look for. Stránský's conflict of interest is hidden. In his analysis, he never mentions that he's going to make money if you follow his advice. Zhou's conflict, on the other hand, it's completely obvious. He's the CEO of a rival company, and he's not hiding it. One guy is pretending to be neutral, the other isn't. And believe me, that distinction, it's everything.
Okay, so you've looked into the author. Signal number 2 is all about their proof. It's not enough to just know who's talking. You have to know what they're basing their claims on. Are they using actual, verifiable facts, or is this whole thing just built on pure speculation?
And when you look at this, you can really see the whole spectrum of credibility, can't you? That Bitcoin prediction, no source given, it's totally unverifiable, basically pulled out of thin air. The Pi Network claim, okay, it's based on a real police warning out of China, but the full context is missing, so it's only partially verifiable. But the claim about a Bybit hack, that was confirmed by tons of public sources, making it fully verifiable. You've always got to ask, okay, cool, but how do you know that?
Signal 3 is my favorite. It's the ultimate lie detector, reality. Talk is cheap, right? And in crypto, it's practically free. So you have to ask, does this author's track record actually hold up? How do their big predictions stack up against what really happened in the market? So what was the accuracy of that big bullish Bitcoin prediction we just saw from Martin Stránský? 0. A big fat 0%. Yep, just 2 days after he was calling for Bitcoin to rocket past 106K, the price was actually sitting below 102K. See, the market doesn't care about anyone's opinion, it just gives you a scorecard. And that's why keeping track of an analyst's past calls is one of the most powerful moves you can make.
All right, we're on to our final 2 signals. And these really dig into the author's character and their ultimate motivation. How do they react when they're challenged? And probably the most important question of all, where does the money flow?
A credible expert should be open to a good debate, right? Our source found that Stránský just ignores any criticism. That is a huge red flag. Zhou, on the other hand, he debates publicly. Sure, he might get emotional, but at least he's not hiding. So the question for you is, does this person actually engage with tough questions, or do they just hit the block and delete buttons? And all of this leads to that one final killer question, cui bono? Who benefits? If you listen to Stránský and buy Bitcoin, his company, BitPlus, gets the trading fees. If you listen to Zhou and avoid his competitor, his exchange, Bybit, benefits. Notice a pattern? In both cases, you take on all the risk, while the main person who profits is the author.
You have to always follow the money.
So, we've walked through all 5 signals. Now, let's put them all together and forge them into a practical, reusable tool that you can use on any article, video, or tweet that comes across your screen.
And this is it. This checklist takes everything we just talked about and boils it down to simple yes or no questions. Does the author have a vested interest? Are the sources legit? Is the analysis balanced? Does it line up with reality? I'm serious, pause here and take a screenshot of this. Think of it as your new secret weapon against misinformation.
The source even gives us a simple little scoring system. If you can check off 8 or more of these boxes, the analysis is probably pretty solid. If you get somewhere between 5 and 7, you should proceed with caution and definitely look for a second opinion. And if you can only check off 4 boxes or fewer, that is a massive warning sign. Do not trust it blindly.
So what happens when we actually run our 2 examples through the checklist? Well, the results are pretty stark. Stránský's Bitcoin prediction gets a 0, a flat 0 out of 10. It fails on every single metric. Zhou's analysis of Pi network, it gets a 4. Now, it's not great, it's obviously biased and it's missing some context, but hey, at least it's transparent about who the author is and where some of the info comes from. The difference in credibility just becomes crystal clear.
Look, in a market this crazy and just filled with noise, your best defense isn't a hot tip, it's critical thinking. So before you make your next move, before you hit that buy or sell button, just stop for 1 second and ask yourself this one simple, powerful question. Your money is on the line. Who really benefits from your next decision?